Are you truly sure you understand your pet? We've grown accustomed to thinking a wagging tail always means happiness, and a purr is nothing but pure bliss. But what if I told you these could actually be signs of fear, or even pain? Today, we're going to break down the 20 most common mistakes we make when interpreting cat and dog behaviour. I promise, after this video, you'll look at your furry friend with a whole new perspective. The main problem is that we view them through the lens of human emotions. We attribute feelings of guilt, revenge, or resentment to them, forgetting that they speak an entirely different language. This language is made up of body signals, scents, and sounds, all developed over millennia for survival. Understanding these fundamentals is the first step towards becoming the best possible friend to your animal companion. Are you sure a wagging tail always means happiness? Discover the 20 most common mistakes in understanding cat and dog behaviour that almost every owner makes. Decipher your pet's body language once and for all. In this video, we'll dive deep into the world of animal psychology and debunk the most widespread misconceptions about pet behaviour. You'll learn why a cat's purr isn't always a sign of contentment, and why that guilty look from your dog has nothing to do with shame. We'll explain in detail what truly lies behind your pet's habits. We'll cover decoding dog, body language, what do different tail and ear positions mean, and why do dogs yawn when they're not sleepy. We'll break down calming signals and signs of stress in dogs. Unlocking cat behaviour secrets. Why do cats show their belly but refuse to be petted there? What is making biscuits? And why do cats bring their owners gifts? Learn to understand your feline friend like never before. Myth busting. Is it true that you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Do animals get revenge by having accidents in the house? Answers to these and many other questions will help you build a stronger bond with your four-legged companion. Properly interpreting animal behaviour is the key to a harmonious relationship, successful training, and your pet's overall well-being. This video is perfect for new pet parents looking to correctly raise a puppy or kitten, as well as experienced owners who want to deepen their understanding. Subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on more helpful videos about animal psychology and pet care. Like this video? Give us a thumbs up. It really helps us out. Tell us in the comments, what common misunderstanding about your pet have you made? Let's share our experiences. Hit the bell icon to be notified first about new episodes. Animal behaviour, chug pet psychology, chug cats and dogs. Dog behaviour, chug cat behaviour, chug dog training, chug pet parenting. Animal body language, pet tips, chug canine science, chug feline science, pets, chug how to understand cats, how to understand dogs. So let's kick things off with an absolute classic, something even children seem to know. A dog wagging its tail means it's happy to see you. That's often the first thought, and unfortunately, it's one of the most common and widespread misconceptions. Actually, a dog's tail isn't a barometer of happiness. It's an indicator of their emotional arousal, and that arousal can be anything. Picture a wide, relaxed sweep from side to side, where not just the tail, but the dog's entire hindquarters are moving. That's genuine joy and a friendly invitation to interact. But consider a different scenario. The tail is held low, making short, rapid, almost nervous movements. The dog might also avoid eye contact or lick its lips. That's definitely not joy. More likely, it's a sign of uncertainty, anxiety, or even fear. And then there's a third crucial scenario you need to be aware of. The tail is held high, stiff as a board, vibrating or moving in very short, rigid motions. Watch out! This is a clear signal of extreme tension, heightened alertness, and a warning that could precede aggression. So simply seeing a wagging tail isn't enough. The key word here is context. But what about that infamous guilty look? You walk in the door to find a torn pillow in the middle of the living room, and your dog eyeing you from under lowered brows, ears flattened, tail tucked. We immediately think, aha, you little rascal, you know exactly what you did. However, this is yet another huge misconception. Dogs don't experience guilt in the human sense. This complex emotion requires self-reflection and an understanding of moral codes, abilities that animals simply don't possess. What we perceive as guilt is, in fact, fear and a submissive posture. Your dog is an expert at reading your body language, your tense posture, furrowed brows, and the stern tone of your voice. It doesn't connect your anger to the pillow it tore up 3 hours ago. Instead, it associates your anger with your sudden appearance, and its entire demeanour is an attempt to communicate, "I'm small and harmless, please don't be angry, I submit to you." It's trying to placate you, using appeasement signals inherited from its wolf ancestors, signals used to resolve conflicts within the pack. So, when you scold your dog for that guilty look, you're actually just intensifying its fear. Now let's turn our attention to our mysterious cats and their signature sound, the purr. For most of us, it's an undeniable symbol of comfort, warmth, and pure feline bliss. We pet a cat, they start to rumble, and we're convinced they're in seventh heaven, utterly content. But if only it were that simple, cats wouldn't be cats. The truth is, purring is an incredibly complex tool for communication and self-regulation. Yes, a cat purrs when it's on your lap and you're stroking it, but equally they might purr while in their carrier on the way to the vet, or when they're in pain, or even giving birth. In these stressful situations, purring acts as a natural analgesic and tranquilizer, a self-soothing mechanism the cat creates for itself. The low-frequency vibrations help them reduce stress and, as some research suggests, even promote tissue healing. So, the next time you hear a purr, pay close attention to the environment. If the cat is relaxed, they're happy, but if they're tense or hiding, they might need your support. Let's continue our talk about cats. Here's a situation every owner knows all too well. You walk in the door, set down your bags, and instantly your furry friend is there, weaving through your legs, rubbing against them with their cheeks and sides. Naturally, we interpret this as a display of love and joy at seeing us, and to some extent, that's absolutely true. But the main reason behind this ritual is far deeper, intricately linked to a cat's sophisticated world of sense. Cats have special glands located on their cheeks, chin, forehead, and even at the base of their tail. These glands release pheromones, their unique chemical signature, you could say their personal passport. So when your cat rubs against you, they're not just being affectionate, they're actually leaving their unique scent on you. It's not just a sign of affection, it's an act of claiming. It's their way of saying, "You are my human. You smell like me," which means you're part of my safe territory, part of my family. Throughout your day spent out in the world, you've inevitably picked up countless foreign scents, and your cat's first priority is to re-scent you, to replace all those unfamiliar smells with their very own. So, when your cat rubs against your legs, they're doing more than just saying hello. They're integrating you back into their personal world, making it feel familiar, safe, and utterly comfortable once more. It's truly the ultimate feline compliment. Back to dogs and a behaviour we constantly observe, but often misinterpret. Dog yawning. Of course, just like us, a dog might yawn when they're tired or have just woken up. That's completely normal. But far more often, a dog's yawn has nothing to do with being sleepy. Instead, it's one of the clearest calming signals, or, to put it simply, a way for them to release stress. When a dog finds itself in an awkward, confusing, or stressful situation, they'll often revert to habitual behaviours to diffuse that internal tension, and yawning is one of the most common of these actions. Imagine this: you're at the vet, and your dog in the waiting room starts yawning repeatedly, or you're trying to teach them a new, complex command, and they yawn right in your face, clearly not understanding what you want. Or a stranger comes to visit, and your dog gives a big wide yawn when they first meet. In all these scenarios, your dog isn't bored. They're nervous, they're feeling stressed, and are trying to self-soothe. It's their way of saying, "I'm a bit uncomfortable here, and I'm feeling a little anxious." And now, for another incredibly charming cat behaviour. When your cat settles onto your lap, gets comfortable, and starts rhythmically pushing its front paws in and out, gently extending and retracting its claws. In English, we commonly call this kneading or, more affectionately, making biscuits. We often feel like they're giving us a special massage, a unique display of affection. And while that's partly true, the origins of this behaviour go much deeper, right back to their earliest kittenhood. Just like a newborn kitten, blind and deaf, would instinctively massage its mother's belly during nursing. These movements stimulated milk flow. For the kitten, this process was directly linked to ultimate comfort, warmth, security, and a full belly. When an adult cat repeats these movements, they are essentially reliving that state of infant bliss. It's an instinctive behaviour that kicks in when your cat feels utterly relaxed, safe, and truly content. So, the next time your cat is making biscuits on your lap, know that in that moment, you embody that same comforting maternal care and absolute security. It's their ultimate expression of trust and contentment. Let's now tackle perhaps the most persistent and, frankly, damaging myth out there, the myth of dominance. This idea that your dog is constantly trying to assert itself as the alpha in your pack is completely outdated, yet its echoes are still heard everywhere. Consider a classic scenario. Your dog comes up and places a paw on you, or they persistently try to get onto the couch, even after you've told them no. Immediately, the thought that often springs to many people's minds is, they're testing boundaries, they're trying to dominate. In reality, 99% of the time, these actions have absolutely nothing to do with a power struggle. When a dog puts a paw on you, they're most likely just asking for your attention. Perhaps they want a pat, a game, or just a gentle reminder that they're there. It's a learned behaviour. They did it once, got a reaction from you, and now they repeat it. And what about the couch? The couch is simply the most comfortable, softest, and warmest spot in the entire house. Plus, it smells like you. They're family. When your dog tries to get on the couch, they're not seeking to climb the hierarchy. They're looking for physical comfort and closeness to their human. Modern animal psychology has long abandoned the dominance theory when it comes to domestic dogs. They see us not as rivals, but as a source of safety, security, and resources. Let's talk about cat body language because there's a common trap many new owners fall into. Imagine your cat completely relaxed, sprawled on their back, openly displaying that soft, fluffy, and utterly vulnerable belly. What's our immediate human instinct? To reach out and rub that adorable tummy, of course, only to be met with a swift flurry of claws and teeth. What just happened? Were you tricked? Not at all. You simply misunderstood. In the feline world, exposing the belly is the ultimate gesture of trust. It's the most vulnerable part of their body, containing all their vital organs. By revealing it, your cat is essentially saying, I trust you so completely that I feel safe enough to be utterly vulnerable in your presence. But this display of trust is not an invitation for action. It's a passive gesture, meant only to be acknowledged and appreciated. For most cats, touching this extremely sensitive area is a breach of their personal space and can be perceived as a threat. So, when your cat shows you their belly, the best response is to offer a slow blink. Perhaps speak to them gently, but keep your hands firmly to yourself. Cherish the trust, but never abuse it. Let's talk about a peculiar eating habit many dogs have. You take your dog for a walk, and instead of chasing a ball, they start intently grazing, just like a cow in a field, munching on grass. The first thought that crosses most owners' minds is, oh, she must be missing some vitamins. While that's a popular theory, it's very seldom accurate. High-quality, balanced dog food provides all the necessary nutrients a dog needs. The actual reasons behind this grass-eating habit are typically far simpler. For one, some dogs just like the taste and texture, especially young, tender blades. It's like a crunchy, refreshing snack for them, much like us munching on a crisp cucumber. Secondly, it can be a sign of boredom. If their walk lacks stimulation, they'll find ways to entertain themselves. Lastly, and perhaps most commonly, Dogs eat grass to make themselves vomit. If they've eaten something that doesn't agree with them and feel an upset stomach, the long blades of grass can irritate their digestive tract and help them clear it out. Occasional grass eating followed by vomiting is generally normal, but if your dog is constantly grazing and vomiting frequently, it's time for a vet visit to rule out any digestive problems. Now, for an unmistakable sound, the cat's hiss. When people hear that sharp snake-like sound, many immediately think, "What an angry, aggressive cat!" But that assessment is completely wrong. Hissing isn't an act of aggression. It's an act of defense. Put yourself in a small animal's paws. When a cat hisses, it's feeling utterly terrified and vulnerable. It's trying to make itself seem bigger and scarier than it actually is. It's essentially saying, "Stay back. I'm scared, but I will defend myself if you push me further. Please just leave me alone." It's a clear warning signal. Its last attempt to avoid a physical confrontation. The cat is giving you a chance to back off and create space. If you ignore that warning and keep approaching, the hiss might be followed by swipes and bites. But at that point, it's purely self-defense, not unprovoked aggression. So, if you hear a cat hiss, whether it's at you, another cat, or a dog, the best thing to do is slowly back away and give it space. Respect its warning, and you can avoid a conflict entirely. Let's delve into another common canine behaviour. When your dog licks your face. We often call these doggy kisses and see them as a straightforward display of love and affection. While there's certainly an element of attachment involved, the true meaning behind this behaviour is far more complex and fascinating. The roots of this behaviour trace back to their wild wolf ancestors. Wolf pups in a pack would lick their mother's muzzle when she returned from a hunt. This gesture wasn't just a greeting, it also stimulated her to regurgitate semi-digested food, their first solid meal. So when your adult dog licks your face, they might be doing it for a few different reasons. Firstly, it could be a sign of submission and respect. It's their way of saying, "You're the leader, I acknowledge your authority." Secondly, it's a method of gathering information. Our faces and hands carry countless scents that tell your dog where you've been and what you've done. It's their unique way of reading the daily news. And finally, of course, it could simply be a learned behaviour. Perhaps one time they licked you and you laughed or petted them, inadvertently reinforcing the habit. So a dog's kiss is truly a complex cocktail of instinct, respect, curiosity, and learned affection. Here's a situation that might leave even the most seasoned cat parent scratching their head. Your cat, a master huntress, catches a mouse, a bird, or even a large fly, and proudly presents this trophy right at your feet. Sometimes it's still alive. Many people's first reaction is shock, disgust, and the urge to scold their pet for what seems like cruelty. But hold on a second. In the feline world, this is actually the ultimate act of caring and trust. Let's dive into the logic behind it. In the wild, mother cats bring their kittens dead prey, then semi-alive prey, to teach them crucial hunting skills. It's a vital survival lesson. When your domestic cat brings you prey, she sees you as a member of her pack, her family. And frankly, she might think you're not the most adept hunter yourself. She's not trying to frighten or upset you. She's sharing the most valuable thing she possesses, food. She's taking care of you just like her own mother took care of her. So no matter how much it might gross you out, you absolutely shouldn't scold your cat for this. She simply won't understand why you're upset. The best thing to do is calmly, without any drama, remove the gift and praise your cat for her hunting prowess. She only wanted to please you. You know those dogs who, upon meeting people, just can't contain their excitement and turn into absolute jumping beans? You come home or run into someone you know on the street, and your dog, overwhelmed with joy, starts leaping up, trying to reach your face with their paws. Many people interpret this as an attempt to dominate, a sign of disrespect, or even plain rudeness. She's trying to show who's boss, they might think. In reality, it's much simpler and has absolutely nothing to do with dominance or hierarchy. Jumping is an absolutely normal, instinctive canine greeting. Think about how puppies greet their mother. They jump up, trying to reach her muzzle and lick the corners of her mouth. It's a clear sign of friendliness and a plea for attention. When your dog jumps on you, they're doing exactly the same thing. They're simply overjoyed to see you and are trying to greet you in their own doggy way. They just can't control their overwhelming emotions, and all that joy simply overflows into these exuberant jumps. Of course, this kind of behaviour can be inconvenient and even dangerous, especially if it's a large dog, but the solution here isn't punishment. Punishing a dog for expressing joy is a surefire way to break their trust. Instead, you should calmly and consistently teach them an alternative, more appropriate greeting, such as sitting and waiting to be petted. Let's talk about cats for a moment and their reputation for being so independent and aloof. Here's a common scenario. You call your cat and all you get is a lazy ear twitch, maybe not even a head turn. Or you reach out to pet her and she simply gets up and pointedly walks into another room. She doesn't love me, many owners might sadly think. I'm just not that important to her. But that's a classic mistake. We're measuring feline affection by human standards. Unlike dogs, cats aren't really pack animals in the same sense. Their ancestors were solitary hunters. That's why their displays of affection are much more subtle and reserved. When your cat simply chooses to be in the same room as you, even if she's napping in the furthest corner, that's already a huge sign of affection. She's chosen to be near you because she feels safe and comfortable. A slow blink in your direction, that's the feline equivalent of a blown kiss. A gentle headbutt or head nudge is a sign of deep trust. And ignoring your calls, that's not an insult. It simply means she has more important things on her agenda at that moment, like napping or keeping an eye on a bird outside the window. Cats value their personal space, and their love isn't about constant attention or demanding cuddles. It's about a calm, trusting, and mutually respectful coexistence. Let's delve into some breed characteristics that are often surrounded by myths. Take northern breeds, for example. Huskies, Malamutes, Samoyeds. One of their most distinctive traits is their love for a long, melodious howl. When people hear this sound, especially coming from a city apartment, the first thought often is, poor dog, it must be yearning for the wild, for vast snowy landscapes, hearing the call of its ancestors, feeling trapped within these four walls. Certainly these dogs do need plenty of exercise, but howling itself isn't necessarily a sign of longing for the wild. For them, it's not a cry of sorrow, but rather their primary method of communication. Just as barking is natural for a Labrador, howling is completely natural for a husky. In a wolf pack, howling serves many purposes: to gather pack members, to warn intruders about their territory, or simply to express emotions, be it joy at a reunion or boredom when alone. Your huskies do the very same. They might howl when they hear an ambulance siren, mistaking it for the howl of a fellow canine. They might howl when you come home as a way to greet you, or they might howl when left alone because they're trying to call out to their pack, which of course is you. It's simply their way of communicating. Let's talk about a situation many cat owners are familiar with. Guests arrive, and your usually affectionate and sociable feline instantly vanishes, disappearing under the sofa, bed, or into a closet, refusing to emerge until the strangers have left. Wow, your cat is so shy and wild, your guests might exclaim, and you, the owner, might sadly think your furry friend is just a big scaredy cat. But this behaviour isn't a character flaw at all. It's an entirely normal, healthy reaction, deeply rooted in their instinct for self-preservation. Let's remember that while cats are skilled predators, they can also be prey for larger animals. This means their basic programming includes an innate, extreme caution. To a cat, an unfamiliar person is a large, loud, unpredictable object with an unknown scent. From their perspective, this is a potential threat, and the most sensible strategy in such a situation isn't to engage, but to find a safe hiding spot and observe the surroundings from there. When a cat hides, it's not showing cowardice. It's displaying prudence and good judgment. Give them time. Don't try to force them out. Once your cat is convinced the guests pose no danger, they might just emerge on their own. Let's talk about dog barking. For many, it's just noise. the main reason to grab earplugs or get into a spat with the neighbours. But actually, treating all barks as the same is like assuming every word in a foreign language sounds identical. Barking is a rich language and your job is to become its interpreter. Consider this. You know that high-pitched, excited yelp when you pull out the leash? That's pure joy. Walkies, walkies, walkies. Or how about the sharp, persistent bark when someone approaches the door? That's the guard dog on duty. Intruder alert. Someone's here. The most serious signal is that low, guttural bark that deepens into a growl. That's an unmistakable warning. One more step and I'll defend myself. Not to mention the monotonous, bored bark of loneliness, or those short, playful yips that clearly say, "More, please." When you start distinguishing these different intonations, barking stops being just noise. It becomes a message. And by understanding these messages, you'll be much better equipped to meet your dog's needs. Let's talk about what we often label as cat vandalism. You buy a beautiful new sofa, only for its corners to be shredded within a week. Or your cat persistently claws at the same spot on your wallpaper. Naturally, our first thought is, she's doing this to be spiteful. She's getting back at me for something. But attributing malice or revenge to cats is a common misconception. Scratching isn't random. It serves 3 perfectly logical and utterly vital purposes for your feline friend. First, it's essential claw maintenance. By scratching hard surfaces, cats shed the old, dead, outer layers of their claws, revealing the fresh, sharp ones underneath. Think of it as a feline manicure. Second, it's a way to mark their territory. Cats have scent glands located between their paw pads. When they scratch a surface, they're not just leaving visual cues, they're also depositing their unique scent, effectively signalling to other felines, "This is my space." And third, it's fantastic exercise. When a cat scratches, they stretch their entire body, flexing muscles in their back, shoulders, and paws. So scolding them for this natural behaviour is not only futile, but also unfair. Instead, the key is to offer them the right alternative. A sturdy, tall, scratching post placed in a location they'll find appealing. Now let's talk about that old adage. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. This myth is so deeply ingrained that many owners of older dogs simply give up. They stop training or engaging with their pets, believing it's a lost cause, and they're making a huge mistake. Imagine if we applied the same logic to humans. Would we stop learning new languages or picking up new hobbies once we reached a certain age? Of course not. The same holds true for our canine companions. Yes, a puppy picks up everything so quickly. Their brain is truly like a sponge. But teaching an adult or senior dog simply means it might require a bit more time, patience, and positive reinforcement. But it's not just possible, it's absolutely crucial. Mental stimulation is just as vital for a dog as physical exercise. Learning new commands, engaging in puzzle games, scent work, and other enrichment activities, all these keep your dog's brain sharp, slow down the aging process, and help prevent cognitive dysfunction, often referred to as doggy Alzheimer's. What's more, these shared activities are an excellent way to strengthen your bond and show your senior companion that they are still valued, loved, and needed. So it's truly never too late. Finally, let's talk about one of the most frustrating behaviours for pet owners, and one that is almost always misunderstood. You walk in the door to find a surprise from your pet on your carpet, or even worse, your bed. Your immediate emotional reaction is likely, "He did this on purpose. He's getting revenge for me leaving him alone." But let's pause and think about that for a moment. Revenge is a very complex human emotion. It requires the ability to analyse past events, understand cause and effect, and deliberately plan an action to cause emotional harm. Cats and dogs simply aren't capable of such complex thought processes. Their world is much simpler. They live purely in the present moment. If your pet has gone to the bathroom in an inappropriate place, there is always a specific reason, and it is never, ever about revenge. The most common reason is a health issue. Urinary tract infections, UTIs, bladder stones, or kidney issues can all cause pain during urination. The animal then starts to associate their litter box or usual outdoor spot with that pain, prompting them to seek a new, safe place. Other reasons can be stress-related, things like moving house, the arrival of a new family member, or even loud renovations next door. Or for cats, the issue might be with the litter box itself. It could be dirty, too small, or the cat might dislike the type of litter. Therefore, if you encounter this issue, don't scold your pet. First and foremost, rule out any medical causes with your veterinarian, and then look for sources of stress in their environment. But here's the truly astonishing part of all this. Think about it. For years, we might have scolded our dogs for that guilty look when all we were really doing was terrifying them even more. Or we'd pet a cat purring from pain, completely convinced we were helping it relax. Or we'd mistake a dog wagging its tail out of fear for an aggressive animal. These aren't just amusing anecdotes. These misinterpretations of dog speak and cat speak can actually erode our pets' trust in us and even impact their health. Realising this is a true game changer in how we relate to our animals. Learning to understand our pet's language isn't some kind of superpower. It's a skill anyone can develop. Observe them closely, analyse their behaviour, and stop projecting human motives onto them. Their world is simpler and more honest than ours. Once you learn to read their signals, you'll unlock a whole new level of communication, filled with trust and genuine affection. Thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. If you learnt something new about your furry friend today, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on more helpful videos. Now, a question for you. What's one common pet misunderstanding you've been guilty of? Or perhaps there's something we missed. Share your story in the comments below. Let's learn and grow together.